Not talking unless y'all giving me land and 2,000 or more every week. You hear me?
I'm not talking. I'm not talking unless y'all giving me likes, you're commenting, and you are subscribing. You hear me? Oh, okay then. Well, hey, B. We have not talked about Real Housewives of Atlanta, the latest episode, and I'm coming back because I want us to talk about it. And I've been meaning to get this review out to you guys much sooner, but I'll be honest, like the excitement around it hasn't really been like that big for me to want to really talk about it. I found myself rewatching the episode so that I can take notes and stuff. And I just could not get past a few scenes. It wasn't just one, it was a few. And I'm just like, ugh. Okay. Not that the show is bad, and I'm not saying that. I think it's just I ain't been feeling like it. All right. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and give it to you people, and hopefully this review is as entertaining as possible. All right. So first things first, this was an episode where we did see Miss Porsha, had that sit down with Dennis, honey, wanting to come up against Miss Drew. I mean, that's really how the episode started out. So that's where we gonna start at, okay? Of course, they're still at Shamia's house. Shamia threw herself this wonderful birthday party. The ladies are all sitting down, and Shamia hit Drew with that question, like, "Girl, what's up? Like, like, what's going on? Like, are you dating? Are you dating him? Are you guys dating? Like, what's up? What's up with you and Dennis? Are you dating?" And so, of course, Drew is taken aback, and she like, "What the hell? Like, how you get that out of anything? Us dating? What's that about?" So Shamia says that she heard that they had matching outfits on, they were holding hands or whatnot, and then asked why would she want to work with Dennis? Now let's go back. I don't know if that's true or not, because I'm like, and I'm not saying that Shamia's lying. I'm questioning who and what told Shamia what they told her, because I'm like, well, damn, why would Dennis sit up there and invite Porsha to come along to a function where he's going to be matching with Drew at this function and holding her damn hand as well? Or maybe this was a different event that Shamia may be bringing up. That's probably what. Maybe it was a different. Maybe it wasn't the birthday event that he invited her to. Maybe it was a separate one where people saw them matching. Okay, that's what they say. Anywho, Drew says that she and Porsha talked about this. And they talked about why she's working with Dennis. And Porsha says that Dennis asked her to come to the party, as an afterthought. Okay, so of course, Shamia brings up the party. Porsha was supposed to come. Porsha didn't come. Porsha wanted Shamia to know that Dennis asked, as an afterthought. He was more so concerned about their daughter, but then it was like, oh, by the way, I'm doing some with Drew for a birthday party. Like, yo, are you gonna come or whatever? And she said she had washed all her makeup off, so she was like, no, I'm not gonna come. In addition, speaking of washed, she said, girl, you was looking washed. When I saw you in that photo, you was looking like tore up from the floor up. Okay, you were looking a mess. And I said, you know what? Let me call her. Let me call Drew and check on her. So that's what Porsha said she did. Okay. She reached out to Drew, checked on her. And let me tell y'all what was so funny about this moment for me. It was Kelly. I know some people can't stand Kelly, but as of right now, I really like Kelly. Actually, you know what? I am at a place where I like all of the ladies. I know, child. Brittany Edie too. I think Brittany Edie may be until she changed my mind as we continue to watch the season for me to like shift my perspective on her. I'm liking all of the ladies so far. The only thing that I would say I don't like is the fact that I can't hear more from Kenya. Her having the side conversations with some of the ladies, like, oh, is that so bad? She's a married woman. I appreciate them showing moments where it doesn't appear as though Kenya is really trying to beef with the newbies or anything like that. She's actually trying to engage and have some conversation with them. She's actually greeted them. So far, Kenya is getting it ain't no bad at it. All right, in my personal. But aside from that, I do like all of the ladies, and I thought that Kelly's reaction to Porsha saying that Drew looked washed or whatever the case was a chuckle, because her reaction, her facials, and then she's like, ooh, and she kind of like touched her shoulder and she's laughing in her face, and I'm just like, what the hell? I just thought that was just such a chuckle to me. Right? Drew says that she don't. First of all, I feel like Drew, I don't think Drew really remembers the photo that Portia's talking about, because Drew says that she didn't have makeup on. At that time, I don't know what her makeup artist was, but then they flashed to a photo where she has makeup on and she has a thrown together outfit type thing, right? So that's what Portia's talking about. Okay. So she says the next day, she called Drew, and that's when Drew told her about Dennis. Okay. When she saw her looking the way that she looked, she reached out to her to check on her because she knows that, Drew could be stressed because divorce can be very hard on you. That's what Porsha was trying to say, but she was really shading her. But anywho, that's when, Drew decided to let her know about Dennis. Now for me, and y'all let me know, but for me, okay, I'm not one that dislike Drew. If Drew's wrong, I'll call her out. But in this moment, I am thinking to myself, maybe Drew assumed that Porsha was aware. Well, one, she said she's already talked to Porsha about it. But aside from that, right, she also told I feel like she told, Kenya, that Dennis had already gotten the blessing of Porsha. So maybe she didn't feel like it was much of a conversation that needed to be had. Not sure, considering she got that confirmation from him that Porsha was going to be okay with it. So, I mean, maybe that's what it was. But anywho, she called Drew the next day, and that's when Drew told her about Dennis or whatever. But then also Drew talks about how Porsha has been so busy. Porsha has been pretending to be so busy, so Drew sent her a text, and Drew was like, "I reached out to you," and then Porsha said, "That's by text." And then I think it was Brittany that was like, "Girl, you don't reach out to her. That's not a good way to do that. You don't send nobody a message via text. BIT, I'll send you a voice note." How about that via text? Because if you too busy to get on the phone, then get this voice note via text and feel how you want to feel about it. Okay, so anywho, Cynthia asked Porsha if she knew that they were working together, and this is what I caught for me. Porsha says, "I had no Drew didn't tell me anything. Drew didn't say. I didn't hear her finish idea. I had no idea." She says, "I had no I Drew didn't tell me anything." Basically, I took from that was what I took from that was that Dennis did tell her. I feel like Porsha was highly aware. Porsha was made aware by way of that baby daddy. But I don't know if her storyline isn't working out how she wants it to. I don't know if she wants to be able to control the narrative a bit. So let me go ahead and attack this woman out the gate this particular way. Because I don't like how you're moving. Because to me, it just doesn't seem to be that big deal for your baby daddy to be filming with more than one person. It's just not. But okay. So anywho, that's what Drew says. I feel like she knew. I'm not Drew, but Porsha. That's what, Porsha says. But I think that she was highly aware. She just didn't get it from Drew. So she says Drew brought up Dennis, but she didn't tell her that they were working together. And she says she does not care about her and Dennis, is what she says. That's what she say. And Britt says, "Oh no, girl, it seems like you care." And I said, "Come on, Suki Dookie. And come on, Suki Woo." And that's exactly what it's giving. You definitely, I know you care. I know you care. Come on, Beyonce. So Drew says she reached out to Porsha multiple times, but she acted like she was too busy. So Drew sent her a text, period. And Drew says Dennis did a professional pitch. Like, for everybody that wants to know, y'all keep trying to get all up in my tea. Y'all keep trying to make stuff something that is not. And I don't know why, but you just is used to doing stuff like that to me. No. Because y'all did that before. Y'all did that before when he came down the tie. And no, I'm not going to come down here and spill my tea because I don't have to. All right. But I don't know why y'all keep trying to put bodies on me. I don't bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies. Like, I don't know why y'all keep trying to put bodies on me like that. Like, what's really going on? But if y'all really want to know, this man gave a very professional pitch to my team. I opened up for Tamar Braxton or whoever I opened up for. He thought it was good. He turned around. He gave me a pitch of a lifetime because ain't nobody else been really trying to work with me. I've been having a really hard time trying to, get my music off the ground. Hell, my music was supposed to blow up when I was on the game. Why you think they featured me as myself, which was Drew Sidora and a piece of music or whatever like that? I was supposed to spin off from that show and into a music career, and it didn't really land for me like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, girl, I've been going through a whole lot. So, yeah, if Dennis finna put up some money, the money that I may not be able to put up right now, and he can get me in the studio and do what I do, then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. If he's trying to do his own label or something like that, and he can put all his energy into me right now being the only artist at this time, I'm gonna go for it. Okay, y'all acting like this is something that people don't do or something like that. Like, girl, this is what we do. It just happen to be her baby daddy. Who gives a damn? Like, girl, move on. Okay, so this is what Drew is saying, but the whole time Drew is talking, I feel like Portia's being pretty dismissive. Like, yeah, that's sweet. Oh, yeah, really. Okay. I'm like, oh, yeah. All right. So Drew says that, he asked if he got her blessing or something like that, or she asked Dennis, like, did you get Portia's blessing? And he says yes. And Portia said, oh baby, y'all really need to stop lying to each other about me, honey. Ooh, girl, I need all of y'all to stop lying to us. Please, can somebody please? Can y'all stop lying to us? I feel like all of y'all lie. Men lie, women lie, everybody. Y'all just be lying to us. Okay? Calm down. So Drew says that, girl, I would never ever deal with your baby daddy. Like if you didn't know before, let me tell you now, I would never. I got too much going on with the baby daddy that I do got to be worried about yours. I'm trying to get this money on. Like, stop playing with me. So anywho, Drew was like, and besides, Dennis is like a brother to me. Did y'all catch? Porsha said, a brother. A brother? I was like, ooh, Porsha, you're revealing more. More of what I do believe the reason is. Like, you are pressed that they may have something going on, that it may be beyond a whole messing around with each other, I'm sorry, not messing around with each other, but it's beyond just the music or whatever, or just the filming, shall I say, because that's what it's about. Let Porsha tell it, it's only about the filming. But now you're revealing, with every little bit you're revealing to us your real issue, and you do think they have something going on. And this is where it's hard for people to kind of feel sorry for you, feel bad for you, because at one point you were cool. People like to say they weren't friends or whatever. People like to say Fallon had this, that going on, whatever it was. Them folks was married. Okay? Them folks was married. Simon was already being a thought and bottom. Fallon decided to return the favor. He decided to, okay, I'm gonna do a bigger one on you then. I'm finna go get your castmate. All right. So whatever it is, it happened. All right. And with it happening, that's where people are not really giving as much sympathy to Porsha, because it's like, you just did this to somebody else, and now you want us to care that somebody is doing it to you and they ain't even doing it to you, but you showing yourself, you showing your hand, and they ain't even doing you like that. Yeah, no ma'am. No ma'am. Okay. So that's what's going on. All right. That's what's going on. All right. Like I said, I feel like I said this already, that I felt like Porsha thinks they were messing around, and it's slowly revealing itself. Porsha says that she can now this is what Porsha says. Porsha tells Drew, girl, you can marry F or kill him. I don't give a damn. Man, it's like, so you don't care if your baby daddy get clapped? Okay, you can marry F or kill him. She says that she's done nothing but root for her. She calls her you are a low down, dirty individual. Okay, I don't know what my girl was over there eating on, but baby, either them veneers was getting in the way this time, or Miss Mel Shamia had some good cooking. And I'm willing to believe that Miss Porsha ain't eat all day because she was stuck in traffic for so long, which is why she was so damn late. She didn't even get a bite to eat, even though she took time out to take a whole photo shoot with her mama. I'm going to want to believe that Miss Porsha had a jam-packed schedule, that she didn't even get a chance to eat anything, which is why she was over there sucking them teeth before she can get the word individual out her mouth, okay? So, there's that. All right. Drew is like, I am confused. Like, I am what I do. Oh my God. Y'all, I felt bad for Drew. Okay. I'm speaking for myself. All right. Not speaking for y'all. I know as much as y'all be wanting me to speak for y'all, I'm speaking for myself. Need my thoughts. Okay. I felt bad for Drew in that moment. I was like, dang, Drew is trying so hard to disguise her embarrassment right now. She's trying so hard to disguise a bit of her hurt, just a little bit, because you're getting sunned the hell out in front of some of the newbies, okay? So, for me, that's why I was like, damn, that's embarrassing, right? Then you got Miss Kelly over there laughing in your face, just a piece, honey. Lord have mercy. So she breaks the fourth wall. Porsha says, is there a producer here? Can I break the fourth wall? Can I? And they said, break it. We said, okay, let's get to it. So Porsha, lets her know, like, that she's mad with her for asking Dennis to film with her. Like, how you going to try and use him as your storyline when you know he's my storyline? You know we can't have the same storyline. BIT. Now, here's the thing for me. I don't really care if Drew is using him for a storyline, but I will be honest and say, Drew, you do got your own storyline, and it's Ralph. You don't really have to use Dennis, I guess, for us to know that you're doing music. However, Why not? Dennis gonna want people to know on the platform that he is doing music. I mean, like, that's the reason he about working with her, is for that additional exposure, right? She got that platform. Yeah, Porsha has it as well, but Porsha does not have the same vocals as Drew. Knowing that Drew is taking music more serious, right? So I mean, yeah, of course he gonna be a part of the show. For me, I'm not seeing wholeheartedly the big deal. And Porsha, your storyline was going to be Simon. Now, in all honesty, you could have just waited to divorce that man, in my opinion. You could have. Now, listen, I don't care how nobody feel about that. Just because I did not like the fact that Porsha married that man and did not take the time out to really get to know that man, and having her daughter around a man that she barely even knows, just because I may not like that does not mean that I want her to stay in a marriage that she does not want to be in. I'm all for her getting a divorce if it don't make no more sense to her. Or what? I mean, really, it makes sense to us from the beginning. However, we ain't her. All right. So with that being said, once she discovered things, I don't fault her for getting out the divorce. However, I will say, and we'll get to that when we get to her in Kenya, but I will say I feel like Porsha knew a lot of this stuff. Not a whole lot, but I feel like she learned some stuff, but she was willing to still stay in it to save face for others, okay, and herself. But aside from that, if you feel like you needing him so much for your storyline, then maybe you should have, because your storyline really got snatched from up under you. Once things got exposed about Simon, Porsha eventually filed for that divorce. And with her filing for that divorce, there goes the storyline. They thought that they was going to get some lavish luxury, all of this stuff, and that didn't necessarily happen, so much so that he fought her from even being able to film certain things, right? So I'm like, well, maybe, hell, you should have just, stayed married a little longer to them up. And then you would have had a piece of a storyline. Use them for a storyline like some of the other folks doing it. Soon as the season over with, file for that damn divorce. Hello? Potentially. But you can't just expect Dennis to solely be your only storyline. And you know what else it seems? I just don't think that Porsha properly communicated to Dennis how he was going to be used on the season as well. Because she said something, I'm jumping around, and I'm going to say it while it's on my mind. So she's sitting with Kenya Moore, and she tries to say something about Drew, saying, Drew has a way that, what she said, Drew has her own way of how, I guess, she thinks thinks things up in her mind or whatever like that. And I don't really question it. I just support her and go with it or whatever. And I'm like, you do the same, SHI. Y'all slick one and the same. And the crazy thing is y'all favor each other. Like the whole time y'all going back and forth, I'm like, dang, why they favor each other so much? Like Drew is like a mini Porsha or a short Porsha or whatever the hell it is. Like, right? And y'all got some of the same characteristics, but you literally are doing the very thing I feel that you were saying Drew is doing. You got this whole thing made up in your head, and I don't think that you properly communicated it with Dennis, in my personal. But anywho, so what else? So Porsha says multiple times that Drew filming with this man is complicating her life. That's what she says. Kenya asked Brit if that was bad. She's like, is that really a bad thing that she's working with Dennis? Like, she's a whole married woman, right? She's a whole married. Like, is that really bad? But you know what? Now that I think about it, Kenya, were you trying to get Brit to say some SHI so that you could use it against her at a later time or something? I don't know. But anyway, she could have been genuine in that moment. I don't know. But she did ask her, like, she's a whole married woman. Like, why is that an issue? Like, they're not even together. Why should it be an issue that they're working together? And Britt's like, well, I get that she's married, but at the same time, like, that's her baby daddy. And I'm like, and you do not own your baby daddy. Your baby daddy does not own his baby mama. I feel like if Porsha wanted to film with one of his homeboys, even if they were doing the show together, who the fuck is Dennis? In my opinion, to feel a way that Porsha is filming or promoting or doing something with one of his affiliates. No. I just don't agree with that. So, anywho. So, Porsha is also mad at the photo shoot that Drew is doing for her company. Now, that I kind of feel. Porsha tells her, like, girl, she said, you're doing a whole photo shoot for Go Naked. And Drew was like, yes, and I thought it would be really nice. And then Porsha said, bitches, you crazy? Girl, you have a contract to wear hair. Like, that's it. Wear it, tag it, move it along. But don't be trying to do no whole photo shoot with my business, and you ain't even take your own business that damn serious. Like, don't do that. Now, Drew is shocked. I'm feeling bad for Drew. And And that's just what it is, all right? Porsha tells her, listen, girl, you over there playing the game, and I promise you, you're not going to win. And then as I look around social media, I'm like, Porsha, are you sure? She's winning today, okay? According to social media, the most of the comments that I have seen have been on Drew's side with this. I have seen a few that have been in support of Porsha and understanding where she's coming from as the baby daddy, right? And you being the friend. But I feel like it's okay for people to get money and work together. It can cross the line if you guys are, like if the rumors are true. That could potentially be a problem. But then it also would be the karma. Like that's hey, what goes around, it may come around. It's hidden in a different way, okay? But there's that. All right. Let us get on some more. All right. So we get to Angela Oakley. We finally meet Angela to learn more about her. And I'm glad to know more about Angela because at first it was given Charles Oakley, Charles Oakley, Charles Oakley, Charles. And I was like, girl, I'm trying to put respect on your name, not his. What you got going on, housewife, right? And this is what we learned. They have about 4 children, from my understanding. She has 2 older kids. He has a child, and then they have one together, right? So they're a blended family. We learned that they met in Chicago probably about 10 years or so ago, and they never talked to each other anymore, even though he got her number, until years later when they started living in the same neighborhood or something like that. Actually, I think she said it was a 10-year gap between them being in Chicago to when they started being neighbors, reconnected with each other, fell in love, got married. Here we are. All right. She lets us know that she owns her own financial consulting company as well as some properties. She has properties that she is renovating at this moment, and she is trying to sell them bitches. And she is her own, I guess, self-made millionaire. So shout out to Angela because that's what I want to know. I want to hear that. Tell me more about you. And we're learning that about Angela. And she is over there kind of talking about what happened at Porsha's event or whatever. I'm sorry, Shamia's party. And Charles is not trying to hear that SHI. So she's trying to tell the tea to the daughter. And he's like, get up out their business. How about you throw a party and you be the one they talk about versus you talking about other folks, okay? And she's like, but she working with the lady's ex-man. Like, that's not cool. And he said, you work with your ex-man. She says, no, I haven't. Well, and then he says, yeah, well, there's a lot of wells with water in it or something like that. And I just thought that was a chuckle. And I said, okay, Charles, you kind of funny. I see you, Charles. Okay. You're a little piece of funny. So, anywho, we learned that about Angela, and I was glad to know. Let's get to Porsha and Kenya because they do have a sit down. And of course, Kenya brings up Drew and her mentioning that Dennis and Dennis and them were working together, and she was talking about how she was really shocked because she didn't even know the man did music. And Porsha was like, yeah, he did a little album or whatever for our daughter or whatnot. So he's always had an interest in it, basically. So Kenya says that Drew told her that she had your blessing, like Porsha, she had Porsha's blessing. And Porsha says that Drew is a person that often has things rolled out in her mind, which is what I was telling y'all earlier. And she doesn't know what she's going to do or what she's going to say, so she just rock with it. And I'm like, sounds like yourself. So Porsha says that she's trying to film with him on this show without telling her, and she doesn't like that. But how would that complicate your storyline? Unless you think that they're messing with each other and you want to play it up as though you're trying to get back with your baby daddy. Like, those are the only 2 things that, like, that's what makes sense to me. You and Dennis may still want each other. Probably, I don't know if you still hunch here or there. Or you're trying to just use him as a storyline as though you guys are reconnecting in that way, but it's going to affect your storyline if he's interested in Drew or something. Like, I'm so confused. Either that or the other thing that only makes sense is because she talks about as though it's harming her or in some sort for them to work together. And it's like, are you afraid of being exposed by either of them? Are you thinking he's going to say some things on camera about you, or she's going to say some things on camera about you that you don't want other people to know? Like, it's really weird. So yeah, she says she doesn't want him to film anything that will compromise their growth. And that is where I was like, bye, girl. And that is where I was like, you're afraid of being exposed, but exposed about what? Because what could compromise y'all growth? That makes no sense. Anywho, she says Drew should be trying to help protect her like she was trying to help protect Drew. And I'm like, basically, so you feel like you were trying to protect Drew as far as like give her a job? Because that's what I'm hearing. You think she should be trying to protect your job when you were trying to protect her job? When you kind of gave her an opportunity and also kind of like talked to her when she was at the reunion, giving her pointers and advice or something like that? Is that what you mean? I guess. I'm not really seeing the issue here. So Kenya inquires about how her and Simon are doing, and Porsha says that she didn't know about certain things that he was lying about to her. Porsha says they were on a jet, and the jet ended up being surrounded by police. And I'm like, so did that happen overseas and not in America? Because I feel like if you and Simon got off a jet and y'all were surrounded by the police, I don't know why I feel like that would have been leaked to the blogs in some fashion. I don't know why I feel like we would have known about that. But who knows? We don't know about every part of their life. But anywho, that's what she say. That's what she say. Right? Now, I did make a note to say that I feel like Porsha knew about some of his scamming ass past. I feel like she knew about some of it. All of it, maybe not, but I definitely feel like she knew. Okay. I felt like also I made a note that Porsha always wanted her happily ever after, and she didn't really care how she got it. Okay. She only cared about how it looked to others later once she found out about the scamming ways. Okay. I don't think things really, I don't think she cared too much. Okay. Until others learned the truth about him. Right. When they learned that, oh, girl, this man a scammer. He about to get you tied the hell up. He ain't even no real citizen. Or whatever else. Now you all of a sudden want to jump ship. So she says that Simon knew about her past relationships from reading her book, and she thought that he was her person because he told her she was safe with him. Porsha, baby, I don't know how you gonna be safe with a person that was over there down bad doing a wife down bad. I don't know how you feel like you're gonna be safe with a person that's had multiple wives like that. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because I feel like he just jumps and hops from the next woman to the next woman and not really taking any time out to process, heal, do better, or any of that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I feel like you also, I don't know. I feel like you just also created some stuff in your head and sold yourself whatever dream you wanted to sell yourself all because you thought that man was well off and you thought you was going to be well off too. Whew, child. Mm-mm-mm-mm. But good luck, honey. So Kelly has her restaurant in McDonald. She got a McDonald location. She's trying to do the one, I believe, in Sandy Springs. We learned that her ex-husband closed down the Conyers location, and it don't seem like he gave her enough of a notice to know that it was going to be closed down. But right now, she's behind schedule with getting this one up and running. It's certain things that she has to do to get it taken care of. So hopefully they can do that. I don't even know if Bananas is open right now in Sandy Springs. I gotta see, because if so, I want to go. Okay. Nope, I'm not seeing the Sandy Springs location open just yet. I don't know what is taking so long or what the issue is, but I'm hoping that she gets it up and running soon. I don't know what that could be. But let's get to Britt and Mike, because of course Britt and Mike, they're living together. I feel like Britt is a very pretty woman, in my opinion, then and now. I don't think that she really needed any work done for real. But you know how it goes. So he was her client. She lets us know that he was her client. They dated. I listened to a interview that Britt did, like a podcast or whatnot. I feel like for me, listening to her talk, it kind of made me like her a bit outside of just like the show and stuff. So I feel like she might not be that bad. But she talks about how they didn't date long. They didn't date. I don't even think they dated 6 months. Honestly, like he was her client or whatever, you know. They started kicking it, hanging out, going over there to Vegas, this, that, and the other, whatever the case was. Eventually they ended up getting engaged, and it wasn't long before they got married. So that's where they are. All right. They are working on, I don't know if she was saying selling their home or selling her mom's home. But it sounds like they may be trying to fix up her mom's home and sell her mother's home so that her mother can move in with them potentially. But then it also seemed like they were talking about selling their home too. But either way, she wants her mom to move in so that she can help with their kids. Because, of course, she's trying to go ahead and get pregnant. He already has a 15-year-old child. But they're going to be doing the IVF process because he wants to be a girl dad. And, you know, they want to control the sex of the child. So that's what they're considering on doing, okay? What else? We know that Britt has launched her own agency, her own insurance agency. And she also has like some programs or something to kind of like help people get into like insurance and stuff like that and learn the business as well. But she also lets everybody know about Mike, and we got into all of that. So that's Shamia's story, okay? Trying to figure things out when it comes to that. Not Shamia's, but Britt's story. Okay, so let's get to Shamia. Shamia meets with her former surrogate. And the surrogate, y'all know she ended up having a cancer diagnosis, which forced her daughter Shiloh to be born early because of the treatment and things that her surrogate had to get. So Shamia is feeling guilty for even having her carry her child. And, the surrogate is like, oh, no, I think her name's Shadina. Oh, no, don't worry about that, because honestly, I wasn't checking my breast regularly or any of that before I was carrying your daughter. So that actually kind of helped me. But unfortunately, with what was taking place, it resulted in me having to, give birth to your child much earlier than you may have wanted. Right. So why I feel like Shiloh kind of looked like Shamia and Shadina. That's they baby. I'm sorry, Shamia husband. That's they kid. Okay? Because to me, that baby look just when they show pictures of her, I'm like, oh, she look like Shamia. They show pictures, I'm like, oh damn, she look like Shadina. That's crazy. Okay, but not too crazy because she was in that lady's stomach. But clearly Blaze was in that same woman's stomach, and that baby looked just like Kandi. Just like that woman. Okay, but when it comes to Miss Shiloh, that's Shadina and Shamia, baby. But anywho, so Shadina is doing much better, after her cancer treatments and things. It seems like she may have got her breast redone and stuff after her surgery. So things are going well there. Shamia has been through, she talks about IVF and things and how she's been through 7 rounds of IVF, having to also deal with the backlash of people feeling like she's been selfish and not wanting to carry her own child, only to learn that it's really been a struggle for her to actually get pregnant. And when she does end up pregnant, unfortunately, the natural way, right? Unfortunately, it ends up being an ectopic pregnancy. So that's very scary. She doesn't want to put herself through that again. So she's hoping to do a new surrogate and hoping that things end up much better that time around, right? But baby Shiloh, I feel, has come a long way. I feel like she has come a long way, and I'm glad that Shamia is a part of this show, so we get to watch the progress of baby Shiloh as well. So, Britt and Kelly talk. They end up chatting. Of course, they talk about, Porsha being a little late or whatever, or 3 hours late, not a little late. 3 hours a long ass time. Okay. That's an inconsiderate, disrespectful ass friend in my personal. If you got to be that many hours late I didn't know she was that damn late. I feel like a friend that shows up to your shit 3 hours late does not give a fuck about you. In my personal. Okay? Because I had a friend like that. Like, I just feel like that's so inconsiderate because I won't leave you hanging like that. Okay? BIT was late to her own damn wedding. I can't. About 4 hours. I can't. Anyway, whole nother conversation. So, Kelly says that her husband took $500,000 out her motherfucking account. Do you hear me? Well, first of all, they was talking about Britt and her getting married during the pandemic and her wanting to have a wedding now. Then Britt asked her about her divorce and stuff, and it had been a bit shaky at that time. The man emptied out the damn bank account, $500,000. I'm like, how he did that? How you do that? That man was a little terrorizer. Not you snatching money out the account, turned around, shut down the business, and she had to figure out ways to pivot and resolve SHI quickly. I don't know if that was your way of exercising your control to show her that you run something or whatnot. I don't know what you had going on. But that's crazy. That's whack, sir. You're whack. So she said she had to file a lawsuit against the man, baby. I guess just to get some of the money. I don't even know if she got anything because he about went to the damn attorneys. I do wonder. But aside from that, she talks about how she put up a front, made it seem like everything was okay. She deserves an award for it. She said things got physical. She was sleeping in her motherfucking closet. And I'm just like, whoo, baby. That's a lot to endure, honey. That's a lot to endure, but I'm glad you're on the other side. I'm glad you're no longer with his ass anymore. But I do hate that you have 3 children with this man. I think she said 2 or 3. And you still got to deal with his ass in some fashion, child. Mm-mm. So Drew, Angela, and Shamia link up to work out. Angela and Drew, of course, discuss her working with Dennis. Drew says that he was the only one that came to her to the table with an offer. Okay, the only one that came to the table with an offer. I don't know how many times I got to keep telling y'all that. Okay, period. I'm going where the money reside, and it resided over there. So too bad it's your baby daddy. So Drew says that no, she felt like Porsha should have told her how she felt, and Angela was like, but she did, and she's like, yeah, she did when she had an audience, but why she ain't been tell me? She could have texted me, she could have told me on the phone whenever I had the conversation with her when she learned from Dennis. She could have said something, right? But I guess what Angela doesn't know or isn't focusing on, because Angela is believing that it's just because she's working with the daddy in general, but Porsha says she's upset about the filming. Her filming with the man was behind her back. I mean, her filming with the man behind her back was her problem. So anywho, Drew then talks about her own husband, okay? She talks about her own husband, what they're dealing with, how her divorce is going and stuff. She's talking about Ralph asking for alimony, child support, some percentage from her business. He's asking for things that he does not effing deserve, and she's stressed the hell out. So she got to live in the house with this man, at least a part of it. And she's like, listen, I can't. I got too much SHI going on my end to be worried about what the fuck you and Dennis got going on, girl. I'm just trying to make some money and stay above water. We over here drowning. Okay? Period. So Shamia arrives, and when she gets there, she says that she don't want no beef with Drew. And I said, you sure? It seems like you might, just a little bit. You sure? Okay. So then Drew tells them about Dennis asking for the blessing of Porsha and Ralph, because he talked to both of them in order for them to work together. So the fact that he talked to Ralph, Drew is believing that he went and talked to Porsha. He did, but Porsha just wanted Drew to come to her. So Angela brings up Shamia bringing up Drew and Dennis. Like, girl, why would you bring that up and ask if they sleeping together? And Shamia said, now, wait a minute, BIT, what you're not going to do is put words in my mouth. Don't do that. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put words in my mouth, girl. Okay, because that's not what was said. Okay, I was asking if they, was dating or whatever the case was. But as much as Shamia tried to talk, Angela would not let her talk. Then Angela talk about how Shamia cut her off, and I'm like, Angela, you cut Shamia off. We already know how you feel. We already heard what you said. This lady just walked in here. Can we at least hear a piece? Can we at least get some of what she got to say? Explain herself. You're doing too much. Okay, but then not really at the same time. You weren't doing too much, because if you felt the way about what she did, definitely let her ass know. Okay, so you weren't really doing too much, but I just wish you would have just at least let her say what she had to say. You know what I'm saying? Just let her get it out. But maybe, I don't know, you felt like it was gonna be some bullshit. I don't know. But anywho, so Angela calls Shamia, Portia's assistant, and honestly, that's better than being called her lapdog. That's nicer. Angela was being nice when she called you the damn lady assistant now. Because Shamia turned around in that confessional and said, yeah, I'm agreeing with Angela. It's giving lapdog. Earth is what it's giving. Lapdog is you. A mess, okay? A mess. Anywho, let's get to Porsha and Dennis, because they use baby PJ again. So they use baby PJ to act like they coming together for a play date or whatever, all right? So he says that, it's just business. When she asked him about what's up with you and Drew, he's like, oh, it's just business or whatever. And Porsha like, well, she's saying something completely different. No, that lady ain't. She might be adding that he's her saving grace. She might be putting spice on it with that and saying, he was an angel of mine. Like, he might be an angel of her. When I first saw you, I already knew. Like, it could have been some of that, maybe, but not like that. You know what I'm saying? He was an angel of hers to help her get to this coin, period. Okay, she did say the man was her saving grace. And he was. He was helping her a little bit. All right? So, I started to question, y'all want each other? Do y'all want each other back? Just say that. That's kind of what it's giving. Even though Porsha trying to say that ain't what she pressed about. If they do anything together, marry, F, kill, she don't care. That's what you say. But it seems like you are used to Dennis also being the fallback guy when things may not work out over here or there. You like to fall back into him. And you thought you was going to be able to fall back into that baby daddy. Just a little piece. I don't know what you thought. So, Dennis going to tell this lady that she has 16 marriages, 16 carriages. Come on, Beyonce. All right. And that hurt him. 16 carriages riding away, and he really hurt his feelings. And she's like, what the hell I got to do with anything? And that's something like, do y'all want each other? What's going on? So Dennis said that he told Drew to talk to Porsha because of the business go naked, but he doesn't feel like he has to tell her his every move because she's not his lady nor his business partner. He also didn't feel like Drew needed to talk to you about the music. She just really needed to talk to you about Go Naked. And I'm sure that was only because of the photo shoot that they were doing. Ooh. So he asked her if she thinks, so you think I'm banging Drew, is what he says. And Porsha says she's concerned that Drew would film with him. Like, nah, I don't even think she said no. She just says, I'm just concerned that, I'm concerned with her filming with you. Because she don't know how close they gonna get. She don't know what he gonna say. She don't know what Drew's gonna say that's going to throw a monkey wrench in her own storyline. That's what it is, okay? So Porsha does get emotional when she goes and sit off to the side because he did tell her, like, listen, she's using this platform for her music. So if I'm a part of her music and that's what she's using the platform for, he's saying what I had already said, which is pretty much he gonna be a part of the show. It is what it is. Okay? So Porsha gets emotional. She goes off into the bathroom or whatever and says she don't know why she can't get the same loyalty from people. And I'm over here like, what's that Nene meme? When Nene like... And Nene just over here painting or whatever. That's me. Okay? That's me. You got to be loyal to give it. Anywho, so she cries in the bathroom and says that, he's using her platform against her. And I said, how? How, Porsha? What are you afraid of being exposed about? Because that's what this is about. Okay, ain't nobody using your platform. I feel like what R. Kelly said, I don't know how to hog tie nobody. What's that, hog tie? Why would I hog tie her? Okay, why would I come up against her? Why am I using this platform against her? Why? What I did? I ain't do that. That's what it's giving. Okay, so she over there crying to me. He don't deserve her tears. I'm like, he getting them anyway, but you crying. He don't deserve the tears, but you're crying. You mean he don't deserve to see you crying? He gonna see that anyway with that big ass camera in your face. Child, Porsha get this man to the car and kind of slick snap on him. I said, not you over there going off on this man in Simon car. Not you got him in Simon car too. Not the car that Simon told y'all not to have on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Baby, I know Simon tearing that detainment center up. Do you hear me? I'm screaming. It's too damn funny, okay? Porsha said, I can't count on nobody but me. I can't count on nobody but me. Child, you was able to count on Dennis and his mama when you did Porsha Family Matters, and then you showed your ass getting ready to fight that man and his mama. Talking about you can't count on nobody. That man showed up for you to do that damn show, and he's still showing up for you to do this damn show. And you talk about you can't count on nobody. It seems like you counting to me. Hell, you just going through a rough time emotionally right now, and you try to put it off on other folks. Get it together. Get a therapist. That's what that need to be your storyline, healing. But anywho, child, that's all I got, girl. I ain't got no more. Let me get the hell up out of here. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.
Tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a praxis. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATF, got them trying to clone me like agents. Game time, I invaded gym, high elevated, I could face the rim. Putting shots up, I got laser focus, about to take it over, I'm Invader Zim. On a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man, they say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film, I can feel the pool.